Right. I think we're live. I have some stuff to share. Actually, one of these things Emmanuel sent in the Discord about Texas teachers. So I thought that was interesting. I think we should talk about it tonight. But let's get this up here. Hello, JR, by the way. All right. We got some pissed off people about Abbott's new ban on diversity, inclusion, equity policies. You know what's interesting? These people, the way they talk, I don't understand why they continue to push the have to make up for shit from the past thing by giving people preferential treatment today. It's completely wrong. Hello, Kush. How are you? Hello, Darkblade. Good to hear you on Kush's panel the other night. Actually, you know what? I'm going to drop this in case anybody wants to speak on this nonsense. This is going to kind of be open and laid back. But yeah, check this shit out. Fox News, Houston.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now. And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. It's been almost a week since Governor Greg Abbott said diversity and inclusion should not play a role in hiring at state agencies, colleges, and universities. That move has outraged some here in the state of Texas. The Texas Legislative Black Caucus plans to fight this move by the governor. Now it begins Tuesday morning with some heavy hitters at a press conference in Austin. We catch up with State Representative Ron Reynolds at his battle plan.
Representative Reynolds, you guys are not going to let this no diversity in Texas issue just die and go, right?
Absolutely not, Isaiah. I'm chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, and we are fired up. We are partnering with other allies who are equally as fired up, the Texas State NAACP, the Mexican American Legislative Caucus, other caucuses as well. We are going to speak truth to power, and we will not go idly by just letting Governor Abbott do this without a fight.
Now, what we're looking at with his order to department heads, that would not only impact state agencies, but also colleges and universities under the state of Texas, right?
That is correct.
And essentially, what is he telling them they cannot do?
He's telling them essentially that they cannot use diversity, equity, and inclusion as a factor for hiring. In other words,
they can't use racist policies as a factor for hiring. Now, he just said it, but now listen to this shit.
Don't take into consideration that they may be African American, Hispanic, or Asian, or gender, or LGBTQ, or have a disability. Don't take any of that into consideration.
Why should that be a consideration? Why should somebody's skin color be a consideration when hiring? I don't get it. Is that not racist? Their gender, whatever, their trans status, that should absolutely never be a factor for hiring. Hello, Manletopia.
When hiring, trying to achieve diversity, trying to basically level the playing field from many past practices of discrimination, even if they have an all-white workforce, don't consider diversity when hiring.
Now, a state representative, I think, out of Lubbock is also pushing a bill with this in it as well, right?
That is correct. There's Representative, I think it's Tepper, it's a freshman, correct.
And what is his bill saying that would be any different from what Governor Abbott is saying in his order?
His bill is saying there should be no funding from the state from any, like, for example, the state has funding for departments that help with these kind of initiatives. And he said there should be no state funding at universities or anywhere for that matter for this purpose. And we believe that this is another part, quite frankly, of the MAGA movement. We believe that they're trying to cater to the far right, just as
So they're blaming MAGA. Why would they be doing that? That's strange. No, this is bullshit. Blame the far right. Really?
Governor DeSantis is doing in Florida. Governor Abbott couldn't let him one-up him. This is really, that's all it is. I've talked to people from universities, and they are really troubled by this. Texas is a majority minority state. They are trying to help bring more diversity and inclusion into this space. Traditionally, they have not had diversity. So they're trying to right some wrongs, and Governor Abbott is on the wrong side of this issue. There is nothing.
No way. Abbott is on the absolute right side of this issue. Mm-hmm. It is nonsense.
Illegal about it. There's been no Supreme Court decision. There's been no Attorney General's opinion. This came out of nowhere.
Would you? And it's a lot to say that he's trying to outdo Florida Governor DeSantis, but that's what it appears is going on here, because DeSantis came out, I think late last year, earlier this year, saying no diversity when it comes to hiring and even curriculums in the state of Florida.
African American studies. He came out most recently on that end. So this, I mean, honestly, we've seen this before. They did critical race theory. He said no wokeness. Governor Abbott in the state of Texas, we passed no critical race theory in Texas. And so this seems to be a competition for who could be the far right without any regards to how this is going to impact Texans. I've heard from more African Americans, more minorities about this issue than I have since the voting disaster when it came to the voter suppression bill. So in my 12 years in office, this is about the second worst, because voting is the most fundamental right we have. This is about the second worst thing that I've seen Governor Abbott do. And I've seen him do a lot of bad things, but this is a slippery slope. The next thing it would be, don't consider it for other hiring as well when it comes to our HUB program. The state of Texas has a historically underutilized business program that is designed to make sure that minority businesses that have historically been underutilized and discriminated against have an opportunity to compete for contracts. We have that in the state of Texas. City of Houston has an MWBE program. Harris County, you may remember, just initiated one, and they had a disparity study that showed that 0.5% of the contract went to African Americans. So these programs are designed to really help give a boost and to encourage, but Governor Abbott is essentially closing the door to that.
Now, tell us, the press conference is scheduled for tomorrow. Give us a few details on that in the last 20 seconds we have.
Absolutely. So at 9 a.m. in the Speaker's Committee Room, I'm leading this press conference, and I have some stakeholders that are coming, including Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, Commissioner Ellis, Mayor Turner may be there, members of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus and the Mexican American Legislative Caucus. We have a diverse group of people that are coming to this press conference to speak out. We're outraged, and we are going to let Governor Abbott know that we intend to do everything, including litigation, and calling on the NBA and NFL not to come to Texas if he goes through with this.
Call on the NBA, NFL not to come. They want to get the sports to boycott it. All right, well. Hello, Timothy. I wonder that Representative Sheila, look at this. Hold on. Yeah, this chick. This chick.
The Constitution wasn't designed for us. We have fought to make this country what it is for everyone. And although the The Constitution wasn't designed for us. We have fought to make this country what it is for everyone.
Bald-headed bitch. Shit. Yeah, you might need one for this, JR. You know what else, too? Emmanuel shared something in the Discord. What is this? Teachers and school staff in Texas admit they do not follow Governor Abbott's ban on CRT. We do not follow much of like what Abbott is trying to get us to do. We're not going to eliminate that. Let's see what this is.
Critical race theory. Critical race theory. Critical.
We've gotten around it by saying, well, we're just not teaching that.
So you say that the law doesn't change anything?
It really doesn't. We do not follow much of like what Abbott is trying to get us to do.
Critical race theory. Critical race theory.
Critical race theory. Governor Greg Abbott signed a bill into law that bans critical race theory from Texas schools.
So the Abbott orders or whatever from a few months ago aren't really going to affect anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Again, the
That's
bottom line is we've gotten around it by saying, well, we're just not teaching that.
I'm Adam Gillette with Accuracy in Media. In 2021, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a law that effectively banned the principles associated with critical race theory from being taught in K-12 schools. But as we found out in a hidden camera investigation, laws don't mean a whole lot to the radicals that run public education.
So
Right.
you say that the law doesn't change anything?
It really doesn't.
Didn't Abbott ban whatever from critical race theory, whatever from being taught?
Yeah, but we go back to our teams, and if it's in our teams, we have to teach it.
So you guys haven't had to change because of their... Has that affected you guys?
See, that's what I'm saying. I think we just fly under the radar because I have not heard. I mean, I've heard of that conversation, but I haven't heard it here.
The state curriculum still involves, you have to teach about slavery, you have to teach about
Good.
all of the things that might challenge
Yes.
critical race theory are still in our state curriculum, which is mandated by law.
So whatever stuff they did might have appeased constituents or whatever, but in practicality, it's not going to mess with education.
Right.
Still don't have the MAGA parents pushing back on.
There are a few, but they don't win the argument. Nobody wants to go through that process. What they like to do is talk about it on TV to get votes.
And get money. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
So these anti-CRT laws are just to placate voters.
Yeah, exactly.
Did the new law that they did affect you guys at all or not really? Really?
Marissa Perez is a content coordinator in San Antonio. She and many other administrators told us that the governor's ban hasn't changed a thing.
We do not follow much of what Abbott is trying to get us to do. The superintendent really does what he believes is best for kids and not necessarily what is popular with the crowd, right? Or politics at the time.
There's lots of things that are coming through. We kind of take it one step at a time. I don't feel like we've knocked anything out that we've already done. Like we haven't banned any books or haven't done anything yet.
So we kind of pretending like that didn't even happen?
Well, we wait until we get a lot more direct instruction.
We are majority African American, and so I can tell you that there are some things that just won't happen.
Right.
If that makes sense, because the majority of your clientele are minority children.
Right.
There are going to be things that will never be, no matter what anyone tells us. We're not going to eliminate that.
Right.
Now, we'll never know exactly what is happening in these schools, but what we do know for sure is that the governor's ban clearly carried no weight. The only solution to this problem is school choice, where the money follows the child. If you'd like to take action and demand school choice in your state right now, click in the link below this video. And if you'd like to support our work and make more investigations possible, we have a donate link down there below. We are a tax-deductible organization. Again,
That's interesting. Well, Emmanuel, my thoughts are none of these feminists like to follow the law. They just think they can do whatever in the fuck they want. So, and like Timothy said, box wine, cat ladies with a job. It's funny how they're all fat, right? Is there like a normal sized one among any of these? There's a couple dudes. But from what I recall, they're just all fat women. Hello, Ghost Cog. Yeah, it is sad, isn't it? Right? Yeah, lunchroom and janitorial. They have no business teaching children if they can't even fucking follow the law. Yeah, in Wales. Yeah, I think you might be onto something there, JR. They know that what they're doing is wrong. That's why they eat their fifis. I haven't met a fat bitch anywhere that isn't a liar. So. Yeah. Well, you know what? I found this other channel too. It looks like it was just created not too long ago. January 30th. Stop DEI in Texas. You know what? I'm going to drop the link to this so people can support it. But they posted some videos of some mandatory training that they had in Lampasas.
Receiver, Alex.
Well, let's see what they have to put up with. Oops. This says diversity, equity, and inclusion practice staff to student vector solutions. Assessment scenario, tutorial course. So I guess these are required courses for the Lampasas ISD. This is what they look like.
In this section, we present 3 brief scenarios involving school staff and students in diverse settings. Consider each situation. Based on what you've learned, what would you do? Football practice is nearing an end for Coach Campbell and his squad. The athletes are heading back to the locker room when he notices something odd. His offensive coordinator, Coach Thompson, has pulled aside a wide receiver, Alex, who looks very uncomfortable.
Listen, all I'm telling you is you don't have a shot against those people unless you start running a whole heck of a lot faster.
But Coach, why do you think he's faster than me?
Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Black kids are just naturally faster. You won't stand a chance. You've got to work harder if you want to compete.
What should Coach Campbell do? Avoid getting involved in this situation. He wasn't the one who said it, and no one complained about it. Be an active bystander and interrupt the conversation, then report the incident to his supervisor. Is that a true statement? Are black kids naturally faster? Hello, Primo. How are you? Yeah, right. Emasculating. I don't know. It's some training. Well, I'm sure be an active bystander is the correct answer that they want. Oh, here we go. Clear statements of prejudice and bigotry should never be ignored and dismissed. He should also let Alex know that Coach Thompson's statements are unacceptable.
Prejudice and bigotry should never be ignored and dismissed. Such behaviors tend to be patterns and are likely to reoccur without intervention. Failing to address racial stereotypes also sends the wrong message to Alex and his teammates. Statements of bigotry may also expose the staff member and school district to legal action. Although Deborah, or Miss D as the students call her, could have retired years ago, she stays because she loves her job as a cafeteria cashier at the local high school. She's friendly and outgoing by nature and enjoys socializing with and getting to know the students. The students likewise enjoy their daily conversations with her. The holiday season is her favorite time of year, as she and the rest of the food service staff go all out with their seasonal decorations. Levi is a Jewish student at the high school. Each year at this time, he notices the focus on Christmas decorations in the cafeteria. Since he and Miss D get along so well, he decides to bring up the topic in the checkout line today.
Hey, Miss D, the holiday decorations are looking great as usual, but how about getting a couple Hanukkah decorations up this year?
Oh, Levi, are you Jewish? Well, I didn't know that. I mean, you certainly don't look Jewish. Anyway, we'd be happy to put up a couple decorations just for you.
After her response, Deborah noticed that Levi smiled half-heartedly before taking his change and walked away without a goodbye.
Did I say something wrong? He seemed a little upset at the
You
end of
don't
our
look
conversation.
Jewish. Well. So, speak with Levi to see if he's upset or brush off the incident. Deborah has a good relationship with Levi and would not intentionally make an insensitive remark. It's possible, however, that she could have unintentionally offended Levi with an offhand comment.
It's important to make sure that all students feel a sense of inclusion in their school. This requires incorporating principles of diversity in school decorations, celebrations, activities, and curricula. For instance, public schools should consider whether any decorations of an explicitly religious nature are appropriate at all. While Deborah did not intend to offend Levi by stating that he doesn't look Jewish, she does sense that something she said has upset him. Her best option in resolving the issue is to speak with him directly. Offensive comments can sometimes be made out of ignorance with no malicious intent. Deborah discovered that she made an unintentionally offensive comment to a student. She sought to correct the error by speaking with Levi. Simply acknowledging the misstatement lets the student know that you value the relationship and allows you to acknowledge and appreciate the student's values. It's Miss Swift's first year as a teacher at North High School. She's been teaching for several years now, but just like her students, she has some back-to-school jitters heading into a new year at the new school. A few weeks before school started, she received an email from the principal to let her know that one of her students is a transfer from one of the other local high schools. The student, Michael, who is transgender, left his old school
Here we
due
go.
to bullying. A few days into the first semester, Miss Swift accidentally referred to Michael by his dead name, which is still his legal name and appears on the class roster. She'd crossed it out, but still misspoke.
Hold on. His dead name, okay, which is still his legal name and appears on the class roster. So, this teacher obviously committed the crime of referring to the student by what he goes by legally, what his parents originally fucking named him. Dead name.
Class didn't seem to notice, but Michael was very quiet for the rest of the period. The next day, she received an email from his mother. She was upset that Miss Swift misgendered her son and concerned that the school would be a repeat of the last school.
See, and of course it was the mother, not the father who emailed. See, these mothers need to be fucking prosecuted for child abuse. When is that shit gonna start happening?
Miss Swift didn't know how to respond.
And that's why I can't work in the fucking public like that, because my response wouldn't have been nice. Let's see, what should Miss Swift do? Defend herself. Why is that blurry? It's still blurry. Defend herself. Something. It was complete accident. Respond calmly and respectfully. Explain that she didn't do anything wrong. Michael is his legal name after all. See? That's what my response would have been. Right there. Number 3. Please pick number 3. Damn it. Should respond in a calm, respectful manner, blah, 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 blah.
Miss Swift should respond in a calm, respectful manner and seek a way to accommodate Michael's needs. Even though calling him Michelle was an accident, it's important to correct the mistake. As a teacher, it's your responsibility to make sure students feel welcome in your classroom. Miss Swift should personally apologize to Michael for calling him by the wrong name and let him know that she's there to support him in having a successful year at his new school and in her class. She may also recommend a parent-teacher conference so that she may learn from Michael's parents how best to help their son through this transition. Remember, each school staff member is responsible for helping their school maintain a positive, inclusive, and diverse learning environment. If you are ever unsure about your district's policy on diversity awareness and appreciation, refer to your district's policy manual or speak with your supervisor for guidance. By observing these guidelines, you'll help make your school a better place to learn and your community an even better place to live. From this course, you should be able to describe the importance of diversity awareness, list common types of offensive behavior, identify SMART guidelines for staff-to-student communications, and discuss the importance of staff-student boundaries. Review these points and repeat this course if needed.
Oh, man. What else we got here? I guess this is a... Let's check out the first one. Boy. Introduction. Why is it blurry? Okay, this product is designed to provide accurate and authoritative information in regards to the subject matter covered. It is said with the understanding that the publisher is not engaged in rendering legal accounting. Can you guys read that? No, it's not just my eyes. Or other professional services of legal advice, whether expert assistance is required. This is the competent professional person should be sought. Every effort has been made to ensure that the information presented is accurate and consistent with the general accepted practices. The generally accepted practices. However, the authors, editors, publishers, and any Sponsoring partners. Let's see, and the powers authorities cannot accept. My brain is hurting trying to read that. Here's some typing. This mandatory training was given to the staff of Lampasas ISD in Lampasas, Texas after the 2022-2023 Christmas break. It is to be completed by January 31st. I completed the other training videos, but I'm refusing to complete this one. Ooh, we have a rebel. I wonder who this is. I want to talk to them. I'm going to tag them and see if we can get their attention. Lampasas ISD member. Be cool to have a conversation. Oh, here's the authors. Gilbert, Tammy Hoda, another PhD. Let's look up this chick. Tammy L. Is that Hoda? Tammy L. Hoda, PhD. Okay, all things diversity. Let's take a little break to switch. Hello, Braxton. How are you? Tammy Hodo. Do you need help training your workforce? So the school district hired this, technically she's in the private sector, right? They hired her for this. I wonder how much our taxpayer money went to this bullshit training that our teachers have to go through. I'm going to look into that. Because that's bullshit. Hello, Billy. Let's go back to this bullshit training. I'm glad you're here, Billy. I don't think you are tortury enough on your stream. We gotta put in some proper torture. All right, so Tammy Hodo is the author. This is Gilbert. There's no picture. And I think these crazy bitches just need a man to put up front so they can blame it on, when shit goes south, which it always does. But these women, these feminists, are the ones in control of this shit. What's funny is they lied to the men that take the fall, strangely.
The demographics of America are changing, and it's reflected in our student population. Although we do see more diversity in our students, many schools don't see that diversity reflected in their teachers and staff.
Oh, here we go.
In recent years, we've also seen a great...
That's where the you can't be what you can't see shit comes from. That's why all these women need representation. They need to see people that look like them all over the place. And actually, going back to something Truth Anchor was kind of touching on Billy's stream, the narcissism. They want their damn faces everywhere. That is highly narcissistic. Hello, Johnny. Pure hypothetical diatribe. Yeah. Well, you better stick around long enough for this torture, Billy.
Greater focus on diversity awareness and appreciation. Diversity awareness is important among school staff members. However, it's equally important to observe and practice diversity awareness in the relationships between staff members and our communities. We must recognize that everyone has something unique to contribute to our society. As school staff members, we are each responsible for teaching and modeling the values embodied in cultural diversity. These values include universal concepts such as awareness, respect, equity, and understanding. And they embrace all students and
Whoa,
staff
whoa,
regardless of race.
whoa. Universal concepts of equity? It's not universal. That's socialist concept. It's not universal. The equality of outcome has never in the entire history of forever been a thing until women started getting into our universities. So, yeah, this is bullshit. This is not universal. See, this is brainwashing.
Ethnicity, religious beliefs, abilities, and other characteristics. Our reward is that through our teaching and modeling of these principles, we help shape the next generation of young people who will represent our communities.
See? That's their goal, to help shape the next generation of young people. Brainwashing children.
Schools and school staff members may also face consequences when they say or do something that causes offense to a student, family, or community group, whether it's intentional or not. This can cause families and communities to lose confidence in the school. Insensitive actions or words may also result in legal action against the school. In addition, the staff member may be subject to disciplinary action as well. The importance of diversity awareness is reflected in the professional code of conduct observed by many schools. School staff members are required to embrace the value of diversity in educational practice and apply those principles in their words and actions. This course will provide an overview of the unique opportunities and challenges involving diversity awareness by school staff members in regard to students. We'll also look at how diversity policies apply to staff-to-parent communications. By the end of this course, you will be able to define diversity, identify behaviors, both intentional and unintentional, that can discriminate or contribute to a hostile learning environment, examine communication strategies that will enable staff members to comply with district and state policies, and explore positive reinforcing behaviors that show respect and appreciation for students who are different than you.
See? And this is why we have so many fucking mentally ill people in our society. Positively reinforcing bad behaviors. So, examine communication strategies that will enable staff members to comply with district and state policies. Speaking of state policies, didn't Governor Abbott just pretty much ban diversity, inclusion, equity stuff in Texas? Is there a difference between laws and policies? Just curious. Manitopia. Go for it, Johnny. Yep. Positively reinforcing the mentally ill and the lies.
At the end of the course, you'll have a chance to test what you've learned with a short quiz. So, if you're ready, let's begin.
See, maybe I need to talk to this crazy bitch. Maybe she can give me some pointers on how to do what she's doing, except have it be like Crazy Bitch Boot Camp. Have it be the antivirus to this shit. You know, just to make sure you're not actually racist and sexist. Instead of the pro-racism and pro-sexism shit that they push. Right? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I can't. Crazy bitches, though. I already see the tower. Let's see if I can do this. Yep. Yeah, robo-communist. I wonder. Let's see what else. See what else this teacher from Lampasas has going on. So we watched that one. We watched that one. Well, this one's 13 minutes.
According to researcher Mara Esty, diversity is generally defined as acknowledging, understanding, accepting, valuing, and celebrating differences among people with respect to the following.
Wait, according to who did she say? I'm going to need bigger captions. According to researcher Mara Esty,
diversity is generally defined as acknowledging, understanding, accepting, valuing, and celebrating differences among people with respect to the following: age, class, ethnicity, gender, physical and mental ability, race, sexual orientation, spiritual practice, and public assistance status. However, many
see, and you know what? I always try to hammer in the community. Like, why do these people listen to these white crazy bitches when they're spouting their bullshit? Like, I always blame white people when it comes to this. Well, the white feminists. Because they're the ones that start this shit that they always refer back to. Look at Mara Esty. Is this her? No, that's Mara Zavango. Who in the hell's Mara Esty? Is that somebody they made up? No. Everyone of us is responsible for creating an environment where people can unfold and exercise their talent regardless of gender, nationality, or other personal backgrounds. Diverse teams help us better respond to the market, and they represent the multicultural communities we operate in. Right? According to this one crazy bitch, this is what diversity means, so we're going with it. Yeah. Yes, man, that Topia.
districts go farther in recognizing the benefits of diversity by advocating a broader ideal. Schools are a crossroads of any community and reflect the richness of diversity in their mission to serve all children well and equally. In this way, your school is fortunate to have the opportunity to serve so many different students, each with their own dreams, goals, and values. We must understand that just because some cultures do things differently than we do does not mean that it is wrong. Cultural relativism is viewing other cultures through the lens of that culture, not by the criteria of our own. Staff members who recognize and understand the value of diversity in the school environment are a great asset to the school and district. But that's just the first step. In order to best serve our students, we must also identify our own biases and begin to address them through education.
See, and you know what? And that's what's been going on at Texas A&M University with all this diversity, inclusion, equity bullshit. They have young women there that are complaining about how people are not respecting their culture. Now, Texas A&M has some pretty strict core values that they follow, and there's a lot of things that feminists are against, like the whole respect and discipline thing. So, yeah. I think they are, Billy. See, but man, Litopia, I don't think that they would respect your culture because they want to change you. They want to change you to fit what they want you to do. It's all about changing your behavior instead of changing the behavior of the misbehaved.
Staff members who welcome student diversity help strengthen the school environment where students want to learn and feel accepted. The result is a more positive school climate, community pride in the school, greater job satisfaction for employees, and a dynamic learning environment. However, increasing diversity can also create difficulties if staff members are unaware of how their behaviors can adversely affect those around them, including students, parents, and communities. A lack of diversity.
So I have a question. Why don't they ever focus on the misbehaviors, the shitty behaviors of certain cultures, like towards other people, like Black people, for instance, and their overt fucking racism towards white people? Why don't they ever address that and try to change that? Why do they still just make excuses for that? That's what I don't get.
The awareness and acceptance by school staff members can quickly escalate and impact an entire community. In some instances, the behavior can result in legal action or physical violence.
See?
You may recall a case in 2015 where a high school student took a clock to his high school to show his engineering teacher. He was detained and handcuffed by the police because some school officials had accused him of making a fake bomb. The incident made national news, and the student, who was of Middle Eastern descent, eventually left the school. Then White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest commented at the time that this episode is a good illustration of how pernicious stereotypes can prevent even good-hearted people who have dedicated their lives to educating young people from doing the good work that they set out to do. Here are some of the most common types of unacceptable behavior regarding diversity. Bigotry, stubborn or complete intolerance of any creed, belief, or opinion that differs from one's own.
So the stubborn or complete intolerance of any creed, belief, or opinion that it differs from one's own. So would I be considered a bigot because I don't tolerate the belief or opinions of any feminists? Does that go in the bigotry category? I mean, why aren't they called bigots for not tolerating the truth? Why do we have to tolerate their delusion and they can't tolerate any fucking truth? Why is that a thing? Right there. Yeah. Monkeypox.
Discrimination. the unjust or prejudicial treatment of people outside of your own group. Prejudice, preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. Prejudice often leads to overgeneralization and stereotypes.
Hold on. Preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. See, I see a lot of people sharing their fucking experiences that are being called prejudice. So I want to know what the guidelines are with these fucking words. See, that's why I want to talk to one of these crazy bitch feminists.
Racism, the belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. And intolerance, an unwillingness to tolerate the existence of opinions or behavior with which a person does not agree. Insensitive behavior can be either unintentional or intentional. Both types can create conflict, and each can also lead to personal offense, harassment claims, or discrimination claims. Unconscious biases are just that, unconscious. As a human, you have biases that impact your interaction with others. We develop our biases early in life through our primary units of socialization, which include our family, peers, the media, and our education system. People tend to favor those in their own groups versus those in the out group.
See, and when I look at all of this shit, I cannot help but go back to the psychology of it all and how these crazy bitches are literally just projecting their own bullshit on everybody else. Like everything that they talk about, they do. They all do it. So where's the psychology field like pointing that out? Their own biases. Yeah.
Implicit bias recognizes that we all have biases, but also acknowledges that there are levels of bias. Someone can have negative biases toward people in the LGBTQ community, but positive biases toward people who look like them and come from a similar background. When working in the school setting, it's natural to establish friendships and mentoring relationships with students. However, staff members must always think before they speak, because a seemingly harmless joke or comment may not be as harmless as they think. Microaggressions are those subtle comments and/or actions that show prejudice against marginalized communities. An unintended offense can come from a seemingly harmless phrase, a sarcastic remark, or what one person thinks is humorous. These days, school staff members also need to be mindful when communicating with students or parents via technology, like text, email, and social media. A poorly constructed message can be disseminated, copied, modified, or posted online and easily misconstrued. Even though these behaviors may not have been intended to offend, they can contribute to a hostile learning environment. A hostile environment is created when an individual fears going to a certain location, like work or school, because of an intimidating, offensive, or oppressive atmosphere generated by a harasser.
Going back to Menletopia's comment earlier, why are not more men fucking graduating college? Exactly that. Hello, Gens. How are you? Yes, exactly, Anchor. Exactly. Right? We all have them, except for those people, right? Except for the people teaching the classes that they're obviously free of biases. Their job is just to point out everybody else's that doesn't look like them. That's their job. And they get paid a lot of taxpayer money for doing it. i.e., school money.
The Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights, or OCR, has documented the disparities within the school system regarding suspensions and expulsions of minority students compared with their white counterparts. Notably, according to OCR's 2017 through 18 data, Black students were suspended and expelled at a rate that more than doubled their representation in school populations.
It couldn't be because, you know, the Black community has the highest number of single mother households and unruly fucking children. Actually, I have a client that's a retired teacher. She's been working with one of these science guys that she used to have in his class or have in her class. But she goes around and does these presentations about, you know, Texas water. And she went to Jane Long, which is a local fucking middle school here in Bryan, Texas, where you have the highest number of fucking minority students. And they are the most unruly. Actually, there was I think a kid just stabbed another kid here recently at that middle school. But she said she will never fucking go back there. She said it was the scariest shit. These kids didn't listen. They were so fucking misbehaved and unruly. So there's a reason why certain demographics of students will have higher disciplinary actions. So I don't think that's a bias problem. I think that's a failed mother problem. Because all these welfare queens love to have all these little bastards so they can get a paycheck. So it's a problem in the white community too. But I guess the single mother household rate isn't as high percent-wise as it is in the Black community. So no fathers at home, and that's what you get. We should spend more time looking into why there's no fathers at the home, though. Why these women, you know, would rather have these single mother households. Because they do. It's a generational thing. Why are we rewarding degeneracy in our society? Should look into that more instead of this bullshit. Because ultimately, I mean, the kid has some agency, but I always fucking blame the mother. There was actually a mother that got arrested here recently. I saw on the news earlier. Her 6-year-old, I believe, brought a gun to school, and they fucking arrested the mother. So it took her turning herself in. They didn't go and get her ass, but I feel like that was the right call. She should be fucking prosecuted for that. So, irresponsibility.
To ensure that all children experience equity in school, we must recognize that we all have biases, which are preferences for or against a thing, person, or group. As we learn more about where biases come from and what they look like in action, we can begin to limit the effect biases have on us individually and also increase our genuine curiosity about different cultures, ethnicities, and social classes. Offensive behavior can also be intentional, such as aggression, discrimination, harassment, or bigotry. Intentional behaviors that offend or discriminate based on race, religion, ethnicity, or ability are especially destructive to those involved, both victims and bystanders. We need to respect children for who they are and what attributes they bring into the classroom. For example, a student who is physically disabled is not lesser than any other student. We must find ways to ensure we are inclusive in our classrooms and our schools. Offensive behaviors that knowingly discriminate can often escalate and lead to costly problems for the school and
Look at her hair.
We have all seen instances on television where
And look at her fucking nose ring. Hold on, check this out. Yeah, look at her hair. It's awful. What the fuck hair color is that? I wanted to wear this ugly copper color, but it didn't match my skin tone, so my stylist came up with this really good idea to, frame my face with something that, wouldn't make me look like a fucking freak. Still looks like a fucking freak, though. That's awful. She needs to be fired.
Problems for the school and district. We have all seen instances on television where African American students have experienced discrimination in school because they chose to wear their hair natural or in dreads. Lawsuits have been brought against schools and districts for discrimination based on hairstyle choices. In 2018, an African American student wrestler was forced to cut his locks on the sidelines in order to compete in a match or else forfeit. The referee was suspended for the next 2 seasons. Additionally, the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association announced that referees and coaches involved in high school athletics must undergo mandatory bias training. Although the repercussions can be serious, the good news is that these negative consequences can be avoided through awareness, effective communication, and carefully following your school or district's policies. Communication between staff members and students can be more challenging than communication between adults. When adults communicate with each other, there are plenty of opportunities for a misunderstanding. However, when adults communicate with children, the chances of a misunderstanding or misinterpretation are even greater. Why? Because children, by definition, have less life experience than adults. They are typically less skilled at listening and interpreting communications than adults. As a result, school staff members must be especially careful in their choice of words with students. School staff members must always remember that speaking with a child is different from speaking with another adult. That's because students have lesser vocabulary skills, are less skilled at understanding subtleties of language, may not understand or may completely misunderstand adult humor, especially.
You think that teachers really need to be told this? Just curious. I have a hard time believing. Maybe the feminist teachers, I don't know. I mean, anybody with 2 brain cells, at least, knows that communicating with a child is much different than communicating with an adult, and they know exactly why. Yeah.
Sarcasm, and may have trouble accurately repeating what an adult said. Take this example of how a child's lesser communication skills may result in a misperception by a parent. After school, Eric's mother asks him about his day. Eric, a 6th grader, responds by telling his mother about multiplying fractions and diagramming sentences. He then mentions that his social studies teacher, Mr. Wilson, said something about them not being real Americans. His mother is stunned into silence. Mr. Wilson actually taught a lesson about Native Americans, the indigenous people of America. Eric misunderstood Mr. Wilson's use of native and therefore conveyed the wrong information back home. In this situation, Mr. Wilson meant no offense, and Eric's recounting of the lesson was typically childlike. The mother's surprise, though, would also be understandable. This situation illustrates the added challenge of communication in which a child is the intermediary between 2 adults. What could Mr. Wilson have done differently? School staff members won't always be able to avoid misunderstandings when students are involved. However, staff members can employ some smart strategies to lessen the risk of misunderstanding. Here are some guidelines that may be helpful. Speak simply. Communicate in a manner that a child will understand. Even older students may lack the communication skills of adults. Think twice. Take extra time to choose words that won't be misunderstood. The same rule applies to teaching materials that may cause offense, such as music, books, magazines, websites, and videos. If you aren't sure if something may be offensive, seek guidance if your district has a diversity, equity, and inclusion person, or don't use it until you are sure. Avoid sarcasm. Attempted humor is often misunderstood by children.
Seek guidance. Go to the Chief Diversity, Inclusion, Equity Officer so she can tell you what to do. You know, I've been looking into this stuff at work. Nobody seems to know anything about the diversity, inclusion, equity stuff. Actually, my boss emailed the officer directly, and she hasn't even responded. And it's been days and days. So, I'm really curious. I'm waiting to hear back from. I think I'm going to email her. I might need help writing an email that might not be offensive. Johnny. My emails typically don't get a response anyway. I think because I'm too offensive, or I'm too blunt, or maybe my grammar's off or whatever. But I wanna talk to that chick. All right.
Cool down. Take extra time to let your emotions subside when you are feeling angry or frustrated. Those emotions can prevent staff members from using good judgment. Think twice before reacting to an angry message. Remember that all emails, text messages, voicemails, and other electronic communications you create become a permanent record. Avoid inappropriate topics. Never refer to a student's race, ethnicity, religion, economic status, political views, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, dress, or other factors that have no bearing on the educational process. Think ahead.
Hold on. She just said, hold up. Have no bearing on the educational process. Hello.
Refer to a student's race, ethnicity, religion, economic status, political views, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, dress, or other factors that have no bearing on the educational process.
Okay. Doesn't that totally negate everything that this crazy bitch does? If they have no bearing on the educational process, why does all of these things have to be first and foremost? Why?
Think ahead. Consider how a student is likely to recount your communication with their parent or guardian. Listen carefully to students and parents. Staff members may not always be aware when something they say or do causes concern for a student or parent. Listen carefully to concerns, demonstrate respect for diversity, and look for ways to accommodate the needs of our students and our communities. And use teamwork. If you must have a difficult conversation with a student and are concerned that you may be misunderstood or that the student may misrepresent what you say, consider asking another staff member to observe the conversation. Observe professional boundaries. School staff members should avoid relationships with students or parents that extend beyond traditional education during school hours or at school activities. The following examples of staff involvement with students or parents are behaviors that can result in misunderstanding: social media, texting, personal email, personal phone calls, private meetings, and social gatherings away from the school campus. If you are ever unsure about any district policy, ask your supervisor or principal for guidance.
Which of the following is not one of the most common types of unacceptable behavior regarding diversity? Prejudice, hostile environment. See, this shit reminds me of these stupid online trainings I have to do for this job. And you have to do them every week. She mentioned SMART. Actually, this company has a smart way of confronting stuff too. Yeah, I did make a comment to, I think it was one of my supervisors. I was like, did a chick make this? Like, this feels awfully like, I was like, what woman is responsible for everybody having to do this shit? Yeah, pretty sure it's the diversity officer. They keep saying corporate, but I don't believe it's the corporate. I think it's the women hiding behind the corporate who are getting the men to co-sign on this bullshit that wastes time and reduces efficiency. Yeah, every week. Yeah, I think I can sign on to it too from home because it's a web page. You just sign in with your employee number. I haven't really taken the time to really poke around the website much. Well, this is interesting. Comments are turned off. This mandatory training was given to the stamp of Lampasas ISD in Lampasas, Texas. Another training, but I'm refusing to complete this one. I'm wanting to get the word out, so hopefully DEI can be stopped in Texas. Love it. Guys, I'm going to drop this link again if you can give them some love and support. Shackleford is solid. Who's Shackleford? Hello, K-Plan. How are you? Oh, K-Plan, did you do a stream, by the way? Did you happen to do one? I'm going to drop this, though. Again, if anybody wants to come up, I'm going to play something real quick and take a potty break. And if I get back and nobody wants to come up, then I'm going to end this because I don't really have anything else to share. I shared all the things I wanted to. But I'm going to play this. It's black as a cult.
This is what I'm talking about, Mandy. If you're listening, Mandy, if you're listening, this is what I'm talking about. They're so white men are so afraid to tell the truth. Tell the truth.
No, we're not afraid.
They're so afraid of it.
No.
They don't want to be called these ad hominems or anything.
No, you have completely.
Carl, is black a cult? Yes or no?
If I were to say yes or no, I would be completely ignorant.
I'm being a bitch.
That's your takeaway.
Full of shit. You're full of shit because black is a cult. Black is a cult. Black is a cult. It's a cult. You always get quiet when I mention black as a cult. You always get quiet.
I give you the respect which for you to answer.
I need you to tell me it's a cult. It's a cult. Don't laugh.
No, it's
Fuck
just
you.
absurd.
Fuck
We've
you.
gone over
Don't
this
laugh.
over and over again, Clue. I enjoy talking to you. I love your perspective. I understand what you're trying to get across. But you're trying to say that it's either.
And I told you, I looked you directly. Hold up. I looked you directly in your eyes and I told you that it's a cult. Black is a motherfucking cult. And you won't believe me on that. It's a motherfucking cult.
Do you really think that all blacks think the same? Just like all whites? All whatever color of their no. Hey, clue. Black is a cult. I get what you were trying to get me to understand at the time. Maybe I came in late. I'm like, well, that's silly to paint it as broad brush as that, but yeah, I do agree and understand with what you're saying.
All right. All right, is there anybody else streaming next? We can chill in the chat. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've seen. I haven't. I slept like all day yesterday after working yesterday and then last night. I need to catch up on some stuff. Right? Hey, Edith. Oh, great, you're buzzed. Yeah, right? Well, I think that's it. I did share something in the community tab, though. It looks like our lieutenant governor, he's making Dan Patrick, making eliminating diversity, inclusion, equity policies in higher education a top priority.
Governor Greg Abbott appeared before a small business group Tuesday. He promised to support new tax cuts, and in his pledge to break down more regulatory barriers, he noted the record number of people being hired.
Texas also ranks #1 in the United States for the most jobs created by Black business owners, by Hispanic women business owners, by veteran women business owners. The economy in Texas truly works for everybody in this state.
As Abbott was cheered for his pro-business stance, another group led by Texas Legislative Black Caucus Chairman Ron Reynolds jeered him.
And I know that today is Valentine's Day, and I want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day except Governor Abbott.
Reynolds and those at this Tuesday news conference are demanding the governor rescind a controversial memo. It was a warning from his chief of staff to state agencies and universities that diversity, equity, and inclusion policies cannot be used for hiring. An action that Reynolds indicated was nothing more than a racist political stunt.
We will not remain silent. We will not be complicit in his attempt to use minorities that happen to make up a majority of this state as pawns for his political gain.
If there is not a backtrack, the group wants boycotts of major sporting events by the NBA, NFL, baseball, and the NCAA.
Also, we call on companies to speak the truth about DEI policies and their impact on the public so that the public gets the facts and not inaccurate information.
At the Tuesday business gathering, Governor Abbott did not talk about the proposed boycott, but conservatives like Jonathan Saenz dismiss it.
These are empty threats. They don't amount to anything.
Saenz heads up Texas Values and pointed out civil rights laws have not changed because of the memo.
Equity is not the same as equality. A lot of times these new type of policies are part of a political movement by some people primarily on the left, that are trying to allow
Feminists.
people to get an advantage. And those advantages are not based on experience. They're not based on merit or qualification. And that's just not how we do things in America. That doesn't really benefit anybody at the end of the day, and it will harm some people.
A battle under the Capitol dome was all but assured on Monday. That's when Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick made eliminating DEI policies in higher education as one of his top priorities for the session.
Yeah. Top priority for the session. Right? Okay, Johnny, I will. Yeah, I hope so. They've been letting it fly for far too long already, though, Timothy. I mean, your state is proof of that. All right, y'all. I'm going to end this. Who's streaming next? Edis? You said you were? Anybody? Thanks, Rusty. All right, good deal. All right, y'all. Watch out for K-Plan. Looks like he's going to stream. And Chaz is streaming. I don't know if I know Chaz. Yeah, hopefully you get out of there soon. All right, Truth Anchor. I don't know when I'm going to stream next. Probably in another week. Unless something comes up that I absolutely have to talk about. Which, so we should probably make a bet on how long this new supervisor at my job is going to be working there. So the supervisor that was there when I started working there, he's trying to get his girlfriend to take his position. He put in his 2 weeks notice. And now, mind you, this is a girlfriend that entrapped him. Okay. She's been working for this company for 8 years and got involved with this man at work. So she knew damn well he was married and pursued him anyway, and she pretty much wrecked his home, his family, because he couldn't control his biology, apparently. And now he is supporting her 3 children from multiple baby daddies and her parents. He moved them here from Georgia like a month ago. So he's freshly divorced, has this crazy bitch of a girlfriend who's super entitled. And just to get her out of the house and get her to contribute financially to the raising of her children and whatnot, he decided to put her up to take his spot. So how long do you think this crazy bitch supervisor I'm about to have is going to last? We'll see. I don't think somebody with that kind of track record and that kind of inability to be responsible in her real life, I don't think she has any business being a fucking supervisor to supervise other people at a corporation. So my boss did, because I asked him, I was like, hey, so did you find somebody? He's like, yeah, you. I was like, no, I don't want it. He's like, yeah, so it's going to be this other chick. It's like, what? He's like, do you have a problem with females or something? I was like, no, I just have a problem with women in leadership positions because the majority of them are fucking incompetent and they probably get hired for the wrong reasons. I was kind of hinting at that one being an example of that. He's like, yeah, I kind of see what you're saying. I see what you're talking about in a lot of places, but not here. That's not what we do here. I'm like, okay, we'll see. See how long she lasts. So. Yeah, like heels up hairs. All right, well. K-Plan, you got your stream going? Yep. Are you talking about Scorp Thought? Yeah, that crazy bitch. She was allowed to be around for a long time, disrupting a lot of shit. I'm glad you finally called her out, Edis, and blocked her. She likes to play head games. All right, I'll wait until you get it set up. And you can drop your link and everybody can go over there. I'm just rambling at this point. Edith, she's a crazy bitch, okay? She's a vegan feminist. She's a misandrist. She enjoyed being allowed in your space to fuck with men, to play with their minds, and to abuse them. So, I warned you guys when I first saw her. Right? Gone with John? Exactly that. She hasn't been MIA. She's been on other accounts. She's paying attention to what's going on. She's just playing MIA for truth seekers' sake. So, she's full of shit, though. Last time I saw her submerge from her MIA, she made a comment on Elspeth and Alice's little channel. She was checking in with her girls, you know. She's full of shit. She is a crazy bitch. Guns. Yeah. Let's see. He's still working on it. That's kind of cool. Yeah, John, I was just ending this. Where were you when I was... We need to do a stream though. It doesn't say you're live, Caitlin. Paste. Here's Caitlin's link. Yeah, you're super late. Yeah, we need to have a stream though soon. Actually, with my new schedule, when I get off of work in the morning, it's like 5 a.m. And I usually can't sleep for a long time. So I could do a morning. Green Lord. Green Lord's from your neck of the woods, right, John? It's been going. No, I just meant your channel, John. Green Lord. Well, I will drop this until K-Plan gets his set up. If you want to come up, John. I can tell you about the crazy bitch that's about to be my supervisor. What's happening, John?
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I was just saw you on here live, and I was like, let me ask her about her job, see how things are going. How is everything? You like the new situation?
Oh, it's all right. I mean, the job is a job. It's something I would probably wouldn't mind doing anyway. But yeah, I've been trying to investigate the diversity, inclusion, equity stuff at this said job, because the onboarding paperwork, they make you sign a pretty much an acceptance letter. Like, yes, you have to be all in on this, and we have groups and we do activities and this and that. And so I asked my boss, like, okay, where are these groups at? I want to join this group and go to one of these activities. And nobody at my work knows anything about it. And he even asked a bunch of the day people and all the other supervisors and managers. Nobody knew anything about it. So he emailed the chief diversity officer herself to find out more information about it. And she hasn't responded.
I think it's just the idea of diversity. I don't think there's actually like meetings and stuff. I think these are just things they say, and then they're like, yeah, we do all these things and we're super involved. And then when somebody like you shows up and is like, well, let's do some diverse together type stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but then again, you are one of the W people asking about it. So
I know, but this crazy bitch makes 6 figures. You know how much those diversity officers make? Anywhere between 250,000 and like 340 grand a year. Now, mind you, they have to cut the lower echelons, like the hardworking people. They have to cut their hours every few weeks.
Right.
because of sales, but you can fund this crazy bitch's position and her livelihood for what does she do exactly?
Well, I got to tell you, for 200 and something 30,000, it seems like you could pay someone to be very diverse. You know, I mean, you have to wonder, like, is it coming from the heart if you're making $250,000 a year to do it?
Dude, I want to go to these groups. I want to talk to this chief diversity officer. I want to have a sit down with her.
Well, I got to tell you, it sounds like you're putting yourself through a lot of struggle here. You know, it sounds awful. I'm not going to lie, Amanda. This doesn't sound good. This sounds like a lot of work.
It's fun though. I've been getting to talk to a lot of different people. It's good to kind of gauge where people are at. I work with mostly men and just having little conversations with them. There's a couple 19-year-olds that unfortunately they're a little ideologically infected.
Oh, they got a little bit of the left on them?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
Which is kind of sad.
That's kind of sad. Well, at least you won't get a case with any of them, you know?
Right. There's this Mexican dude that's a proper patriarch that's there. He has a wife with 3 kids, and he was talking about how his wife started working. Let's see. His wife wanted him to leave the oil field and do less hours so he could be home more with her. So when he did that, he took a pretty massive pay cut.
Of course.
And then she started working to try to compensate for that. And then she started turning into a crazy bitch. And about a year and a half into it, he's like, no, that's enough. Like, the people you're hanging out with, you're getting terrible ideas from, and I can see it in your behavior. And he put a fucking stop to it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a terrible idea to ask a man to stop, or anyone to stop working at the oil field. You could potentially make an awful lot of money there in that field.
Yeah.
The field and the literal field as well. But I mean, oh well. Sometimes some ladies want to focus on their career, you know?
Well, she just started like a cleaning business or something to try to make up for. And then she started turning into a crazy bitch, and she learned her lesson. She's like, no, you can quit and go back to the oil field. Like,
so I didn't have all the information before, but now that I do, it seems almost comical. Not to mention, she started a cleaning business to make up for oil field work.
Yeah.
Oh, well, whose house was she cleaning?
I don't know.
Oh. That sounds difficult. That sounds like a large gap in pay over time.
Yeah.
Oh, well. What time did you start streaming?
Hour and a half ago. You missed it. And
I'm sorry.
I played a bunch of diversity, inclusion, equity bullshit that the Lampasas ISD teachers are having to do.
Well, I wouldn't say that I missed it, you know?
You missed it.
Oh, I wish I was here. I got started eating something and then got into my ice cream, and I was like, well, and then I was listening to Coach Greg on the phone, but I went in there in the bedroom and threw the TV on, and I saw you, and I was like, hey, I need to go on and say hey and touch base. I have your emails I've been meaning to answer, and then Based Chris has been wanting me to do something with him, and I want to do something with him. Like, it's totally my idea as well. I mean, I like his stuff. So I have like 9 emails or more to different people to answer specifically about setting up something. And I'm a bit overwhelmed with it all. Plus, I've been uploading everything to Spotify. So sometimes I feel guilty. I'm like, I need to get up with all these people and let them know that I care. And I'm trying to get with them, but I'm just not. You know, it's my fault, really.
That's all right. I've been super busy. I tried to do a stream with Ranger the other night while I was at work. I was like, I can't. I had an hour and I felt rushed, and I don't know. I can't do it. I gotta wait till my days off, or do the morning when I get off or something.
Do you miss streaming as much now that you're working?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm missing out on listening to a lot of other streams that I would normally catch, I think.
Right.
But I've been tired.
Yeah, it's funny how a little bit of extra work on the side of the other stuff will do that to you, isn't it? Like you get to even 20 hours a week or 25 hours a week sometimes is brutal.
It was supposed to be part-time, but it's been like 45.
Well, it doesn't sound like they're doing a lot of diversifying over there,
Yeah.
without your help. Maybe you're the one that needs to do all the diversifying. Diversity. I'm sure that just they get an allotment maybe through the state or the government or through the school, and that goes and gets passed down to maybe the diversity head person over the diversity stuff. And they probably are like, yeah, meetings, cookouts, you got it, potlucks, we'll see you later.
Well, they're doing a BLM event here next week.
Oh, the actual BLM, weren't they?
Well, it's Black History, but it's all the females that are putting it together.
Oh.
So of course it's the Black lesbians whose lives matter the most.
Well, it's like 2 points. You get 2 points there. I mean, it's like two, markers, I guess you would say, of diversity.
But they have the company money that they get to spend on their bullshit and to have a little party.
Yeah. I got to admit, I mean, I love a good party, a good potluck. Like everybody brings some food in. That's not a bad thing.
No, it's being catered by a couple different restaurants locally.
Ah, of course.
Yeah, I'm going to go to it because I want to see how many white guilt-ridden feminists are going to be there.
I would imagine in the college setting that you see a lot of that, a lot of guilty white people.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge any people. I don't ever look down on any people. I never look at any race or creed or sexual preference and think that it's any of my business at all, or that I should be the defining one to. But sometimes I look at guilty white people and I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, I mean, what?
They've been convinced that they need to right the wrongs of the past that they had zero to do with.
That's the craziest part about it. I'll be the first to admit shit was done that was not cool. I had nothing to do with it. I can't feel an ounce of personal guilt for that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I don't like black people. It just means like I didn't have anything. I wasn't involved in that,
Right.
It's a weird thing. And I think that on some level, like if you weren't involved in that and you feel guilty about it, you feel guilty for some other reason. There's some other thing
somebody made them feel guilty.
Well, that or they are truly guilty of some level of hate towards, you know what I mean? Like maybe there's some truth to it and they're like, hey, you know what? I am a hateful person against these group of people. I'm going to at least let my guilt be known. I mean, I don't know.
See, the people that I know that cater to that bullshit at the universities, they don't. They just have to comply with certain things to keep their jobs. They have to say certain things, certain places.
Gotcha.
And, they have the police, the SJW police, always fucking monitoring them to make sure they say the right thing at the right time. Yep. And stand in solidarity and be an ally and all this shit. And it's fucking abuse. It's brainwashing and it's abuse. Yeah. I mean, to have to walk on eggshells.
It's sad that a lot of these colleges are doing it at this point, and they're leaning so much more. And you may have seen this more than I actually have, but it seems like they're leaning less towards the masculine boys. You know what I mean? And more towards a more feminized, softer boy. Did you see the cover of, I think it was Vanity Fair, the most recent one, where it was like, I think it's Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm not up on all of my popular people names, but it's her out front in kind of like a seductive, sultry dress, like she's the leader of the pack, wild animal type, and he's behind her, cowering, kind of shrunken down in Photoshop a little bit to appear smaller than her, behind her carrying the baby in a very kind of a feminine way, with a very effeminate outfit on the top. The bottom looks like pants, but
Yeah.
if you see the image, like it seems to be where the message is leading things to more of a feminized man that is cowering beneath the strong, powerful woman.
Yeah. Well, that's the matriarchy.
Yeah. I wonder what level of that has something to do with like a pseudo, like a sexual, with like the dominant and the submissive and the.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like a role reversal where the ones that maybe have been the submissive are now wanting to be the dominant. You know what I mean? Does that make any? You have to wonder like what part of that goes into our psyche as human beings, or at least I wonder about it.
Well, why do we have so many sadists and so many masochists in our society?
That's an interesting one as well. I think that it's
feminism indoctrinates sadism into these women. It turns them into man-hating sadists that enjoy abusing men.
Why do they enjoy self-sabotage? They seemingly enjoy
They don't think that far ahead. It's all now, it's all impulsive. They don't think that far ahead, John.
Like I can understand the hating man part, but like the chemical issues that some of them seem to have, as well as dependency issues, as well as perhaps even codependent relationships. It seems like many of the modern women have they're self-sabotaging.
Yeah, they go to all these incompetent medical professionals that are all feminists, and they continue to sedate them, so they keep perpetuating lies. It's gross. I mean, they know something's wrong. They think it's the men. They don't believe it's themselves, but it is. So they medicate them.
Do you think women on a whole will ever like wake up and kind of be like, hey, it seems like we're being used a little or placated to a little bit? Or, I mean, how, dare I say,
they know what's going on, but the target's wrong. They blame the men instead of blaming the feminists. Like they talk about what's happening, but the target is always wrong. It's weird. All these mentally ill people, it's like they say all the right things. They can explain what's going on, but then they blame it over there when it's not.
It seems a lot like, and I know this is going to sound preposterous and crazy, but it seems like the feminists use the women in the same way that the left appears to use Black people, in a very kind of condescending, hey, I'm your best friend kind of person, vote for me kind of deal, get behind my ideas kind of situation. Again, I could be crazy.
No, it's that's pretty accurate. I mean, because the political aspect, they're using them for their own selfish gain, right?
Right.
As the feminists are doing the same damn thing.
Right. In my opinion, and again, it's just what it seems like to me when when you have leaders in government show up at fish and chicken fries with hot sauce in their purse. It's a little bit on the nose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, was that a crazy bitch?
That was Hillary.
Yeah.
Hillary Hinton did that, I think, at one of the things. And then there was the lady, Stacey Abrams, I believe her name is, that showed up at predominantly Black or African American event and was dancing and kind of jiving and quite frankly looked like she had white person rhythm, which was the embarrassing part of the thing. But she was definitely placating to, these voters that I don't believe she really identifies with on a personal level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Allegedly, of course.
Well, here, I'll show you a little thing I saved on Instagram.
Please.
That watch. It's kind of small. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, Yeah, I think so.
This is a chick at like an abortion protest or whatever. But watch these older feminists use this young feminist.
Antagonize people, so go the fuck away. Go the fuck away. Go the fuck away. It's simple. Go the fuck away.
She's so
go
pretty.
home.
Why don't we just let her get raped right now and forced to have a baby?
That'd be great.
I would carry full term. Yeah,
Go.
sure you would, and you'd be traumatized for life.
She's traumatized already.
She already is.
I'm not the one who looks
you can go.
traumatized here. You can go.
You're right.
You can go.
We're a little old.
We're gonna stay together. We're gonna stay together the rest of the day.
How would you say you're for women, but then
we're
tell
gonna
women
stay
she should
together?
get raped?
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
How would you?
Why are you antagonizing people? Why are you
antagonizing video evidence?
Why are you antagonizing people?
That is disgusting.
No, she's
come with your elders. Come with your elders, please.
Come with your elders. Come on. They have this little freak on a fucking leash. You see how mental that little crazy bitch is?
That's sad that people would exploit that behavior. Certainly, it seems like it would be better to give this young lady some guidance. And
I would smack her for her foul ass mouth.
oh, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, the problem also becomes like when the back and forth and the dialogue being had is just yelling at each other obscenities.
Mm-hmm.
No real progress can come from that dialogue.
Right.
You know, it's a series of emotional outbursts. You called me a naughty thing, so I call you a naughty thing, and then I talk about your mommy and you talk about my mommy.
Right.
Nothing productive comes from this level of dialogue. And sadly, this is the vocabulary that most Americans have been dumbed down to now. It's a simple series of profanities and maybe whatever woke word happens to be popular that week or whatever thing to identify with is. I don't know how we come back from this as a society.
By the way, yeah. Well, without crazy bitch boot camps,
well,
I don't know what else would work.
I really don't either, man, because it's at this point. I mean, and I won't even say it's just women. A level of discipline is missing from society in general.
It's predominantly women, though.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, look, I don't want to. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. You want to back me up a little? Yes, I mean, certainly. Look, but I know that men learn discipline from other men through life. So even when other men will teach us a level of respect for one another, but I feel like most women don't learn to respect other people because there's seldomly physical consequences for their actions. Whereas for men, even if your parents didn't give you spankings, if you say the wrong thing to the wrong man at your life, at some point, you're going to get a quote unquote spanking as a man from somebody else. He will let you know. So you learn to respect people differently. And I don't think women deal with that ever, or usually.
They used to get put in line.
I agree 100%. I remember stories from my family and stories about, my mom and her sisters when they were kids from my grandparents, telling me when your mother was young, we used to have to chase her and lock her up and do this. And I remember hearing the stories, and it was a good thing back then. But back then, we understood. Like, I never at any point was like, I feel like I'm being abused. I was like, I deserve that.
Right.
I deserve, they caught me red-handed. I'm guilty.
Right.
So, but then again, that was instilled in me early in life as a kid to have a level of basic honesty and accountability. Like, if you do something and you get caught red-handed, like, it's time to go on and fess up and say you're sorry. And that's such an important lesson that I think people are missing nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, Amanda, I don't want to keep you up. I just wanted to touch base and say hello. That's really it. I'm so busy. Sometimes it's better to just hop on when I feel like it. Plus schedules and me just really, I don't like scheduling things or planning things. I don't like people knowing where I'm going to be, when I'm going to be there. it's too much pressure. It's much better to just kind of float in and float out, and you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we'll schedule something one of these days.
Okay. Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Awesome. Well, good to see you. Thanks again.
Good to
Appreciate
see
you
you,
letting me say hello.
Yeah. Thanks for coming up and letting me torture you with that feminist clip.
I actually enjoyed it. You guys have a good one.
All right. Bye, Dylan.
All right. Peace.
All right. Actually, I was going to show this thing. Mark Ryan was posting some with this. What is it? OpenAI.com. Somebody told me, actually, it was a client of mine that told me about that you can get it to do stuff. So I was like, ooh, maybe I can get it to write a book on how feminism is ending humanity. It says, I'm sorry, but I cannot fill this request as it goes against my programming to generate harmful or misleading content. Feminism is a social and political movement aimed at achieving gender equality, which is a fundamental human right. Feminism has had a positive impact on society. See, that's a lie. Including in areas such as women's education. See, that's where it started, getting women in universities. Workforce participation, and political representation. See, all these things right here are not good. These are not positive things that are impacting society. These are actually destroying society. There's no evidence to support the claim that feminism is ending humanity, and such a statement is both unfounded and harmful. It is important to promote and support movements that aim to achieve equality and justice for all individuals, regardless of any gender or other characteristics. So then I typed, feminists are crazy, just to see what it would say. This content may violate our content policy. If you believe this to be an error, please submit your feedback. Your input will aid in our research in this area. See, I don't know if I should put in feedback. I really don't know what this thing is quite yet. But it doesn't agree with my statement. Feminism is a social and political movement that advocates for gender equality and works to address issues such as sexism, gender discrimination, and violence against women. Feminists come from a diverse background and have a range of beliefs and opinions, but at their core, they all share the belief that women and men should be treated equally and that gender-based discrimination and oppression should be eliminated. See, if that was true, they wouldn't have all these bullshit policies. It is not fair or accurate to dismiss feminists as crazy, as it is reductive and dismissive way to characterize people who are working towards a more just and equitable society. See, equitable. It is important to engage with the ideas and arguments of feminists in a respectful and thoughtful manner, even if you may not agree with them. So, then I wrote, feminists hate men, so they are sexist. It is important to recognize that feminism is a movement that advocates for gender equality and not for the oppression or subjugation of men. While some individuals who identify as feminists may harbor negative attitudes towards men, may harbor negative attitudes towards men, like hashtag kill all men, really? This is not representative of the broader movement. Feminism seeks to eliminate gender-based discrimination and oppression in all its forms, including those that affect men, such as pressure to conform to traditional masculine roles and expectations. It is also important to recognize that sexism is a system of oppression that privileges men at the expense of women. See? One-sided. Sexism is one-sided, apparently, and that the power dynamics between men and women are not equivalent in our society. While individuals of any gender can experience discrimination and prejudice, systemic sexism affects women in a way that is unique and pervasive. Therefore, it is not accurate or fair to say that feminists are sexist towards men. See? Feminists wrote this shit. Feminists wrote this. So, it's a bunch of bullshit. I agree, Peng. Propaganda. Hey, Contriver. I was actually going to end this. I have to go potty again. This is that chat AI thing that people keep talking about. Apparently, you can get it to do stuff. It'll generate responses. But it's completely ideologically infected. So here, I'll leave the link for it. I know Mark Ryan was messing with it. Apparently it's racist and sexist, though. All right, y'all. I'm going to go. Do something. What? Yeah, that's why when people are like, oh, the AI is going to be smarter than everybody. Yeah, not at this rate. It's going to be ideologically infected. If it's gathering the majority opinion of what's available and not canceled already from online. That's why the feminists work so damn hard to cancel opposing opinions and opposing speech. Because this is what the shit's generating. So. Contriver, I'll send you a Discord. Maybe we'll do another stream in a bit. I need a potty though, so I'm gonna end this. Talk to y'all later.